Welcome to Can, the marketing podcast. I'm Ben from Human Digital, the B2B marketing agency.
And I'm Steph from Q Marketing, making brands shine since ages ago.
This week we're swapping media plans for mince pies and looking back at the year that was. It's our Christmas special, and we're reviewing brands that absolutely slayed it in 2025 and the ones that probably deserve cold, quiet rethink, or a very long summer break.
So pour yourself something festive, throw professionalism out the window, get ready for our naughty and nice list. And if your favourite brand doesn't make the cut, well, don't worry, it's Christmas. We'll be gentle. Probably.
Happy Wednesday, Steph. It's good to see you in all of this tinsel and gear and reindeer horns. It looks kind of itchy, though.
Yeah, I know. So happy Wednesday, Ben. I was going to wear a jumper like you, a Christmas jumper, and I thought it would be too hot. And then now I'm wearing tinsel. And what I've discovered is that this tinsel was also used to decorate a horse last Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Like an actual horse. And yeah, so it's scratchy and horrible. But you know, this is what we do for the podcast. We're here, we're dedicated.
We are dedicated.
You look lovely in your Santa hat and your reindeer jumper.
Yes, and I do have the air conditioning pumping behind me because I don't want to be hot. But yeah, this is a brown Christmas jumper where I studied my master's. So yeah, this is much more appropriate for when you're in the US for Christmas. It's much more appropriate.
Just for clarification, it's not coloured brown. It's from Brown University.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Looks quite premium, actually, doesn't it?
It's cute. It's cute. I love it. So what have you been up to this week? Okay,
surprise, surprise, Christmas parties. So we did our record last week, I went down to Christchurch, and that was amazing because I'm working, I'm now fractional head of marketing for a SaaS business down there. And, I got to meet the team that I've been working with for 8 weeks. So lovely. It's been such a long time since I've worked in the tech space, and, what a great bunch of people. And have you ever done paint and sip, Ben?
I have done paint and sip. Yes,
okay.
It is. It's an experience.
Do you still have your painting from Paint and Sip in your apartment? No.
No, God, no. Have you seen my apartment?
I know.
I do have a junk room, so maybe it could go in there.
Yeah. So I'm not very good at art, and I thought it would be terrible. And I actually had started a prompt into ChatGPT going, give me a really simple template that I can use. I'm really terrible at drawing, and it needs to be a geometric shape. Because I panicked.
Don't you just have to paint what everyone is painting?
Yeah, well, I didn't know that, and I was looking for a hack. So anyway, as it turns out, I did follow the instructions. I drank 2 glasses of rosé and a gin, and it was amazing.
Yeah. And the output was amazing?
Actually, it was fine. It was great.
Do you have it? Do you have it near you?
Well, here's the thing. At my Airbnb where I was staying in Christchurch, so it didn't fit into my carry-on luggage, and I had it on the desk, and it just seamlessly fit into the decor of the apartment that I forgot.
God.
That I forgot.
The host is going to come back and like, I don't remember. What was it of?
It was a beach scene.
Hopefully you took a photo of it.
Yeah, I did. It's awesome.
Good.
Like So anyway, so that was that. And then what else have I been doing? Mostly just Christmas party. And then exciting news I shared with you last night. So riffing off the Labubu chat, because we can't close the year out without talking about Labubus. Bunnings, and Bunnings have entered the boxable. So how do I explain this? You can now buy a surprise box teddy bear from Bunnings with it, and it will be a surprise character, and you can get one with a hard hat and one that like different trades.
It's called a blind box.
Blind box. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was absolutely rolling around laughing.
Did you buy one?
No, but do you know why? Do you know why it was funny?
I'm going to go and buy one.
I was imagining the tradies giving it to each other as their secret Santas.
Yeah, I can see that. It's cute. It's very cute.
So tell me about your week, Ben.
Well, it was good. Right after the record that we did, I went to the Fountain Lakes Christmas special in Melbourne, which was a drag parody of Kath and Kim, and it was hilarious.
Oh my God.
One of the lead actors was Art Simone, who's appeared on a number of TV shows, including Drag Race. It was hilarious. I love it. I love drag. I love Kath and Kim. I love a parody. So it was such a great combo.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots of fun. And then I came back to Auckland and saw the Nutcracker with my mum and my auntie, which was delightful. It was Kiwiana themed, and the costumes there were done so well. It was brilliant, with the Auckland Philharmonic Orchestra supporting. It was amazing.
I do love a ballet. Really, I have to say, I'm here for the ballet. Love it. That's awesome.
And then on top of that, Christmas lunches, Christmas dinners, Christmas drinks, everything is Christmas themed.
Christmas calories.
Yes. Oh my God. It's a real thing. I track my weight because I track everything about my life. There's data everywhere. And yeah, I'm definitely putting on the Christmas kilos.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm already planning to go to Les Mills on Christmas Day.
Well done.
7 till 12, they're open if anyone's interested.
And have you got some news for us this week, Steph? What's in the news?
Okay, I love that you're making me go first with the news because I have one thing to say. So, one of the things we've talked about in this year is the rise in the popularity of motion sickness. And they are ending the year in a really strong position. They have made 3 new hires, and I'm really pleased to say, so they've got 2 new creatives joining them. So that's Joseph Jova and Jacob Newton are joining motion sickness in the creative team from DDB and from Saatchi & Saatchi. And they've actually taken another DDB hire, which is somebody that I used to work with. So Lucy Bell is joining as the senior account director, and I worked with her at Goodman Fielder. She was our account manager there. So I think that's awesome. I think well done, motion sickness. And also we know that maybe some of the people at DDB might be finding things a bit tough. So great to see that they're moving to a smaller indie agency.
Indeed. I think, one of the themes for this year was the rise of the indie, and I think we're going to see that even more in 2026. So exciting to see indie agencies really come back into the fore. And I mean, the work that motion sickness produces is top notch. So yeah, great to see, great creative, growing and winning.
Yeah, awesome. And what have you got for us this week in terms of news?
So heading across the ditch to Australia, Topshop, one of my favourite brands, especially for menswear, is coming back to Australia in a different form. And I really like this innovation. So in February 2026, they will be back exclusively through Maya. So the Topshop will be available in all 56 Maya locations nationwide, as well as online. So I will be one of the first in that queue to purchase again some Topshop items.
Have you got a favourite denim or a favourite style in Topshop, Ben?
No, they just have such a good range. I mean, it is very preppy, very traditional, and that is essentially what I wear. So I'm a big fan.
See, most of my wardrobe's Zara, and I hate that about myself, but I also, you can't walk into, they know their target audience so well. So yeah, I mean, I like Topshop as well, so maybe that's a reason to go to Australia.
Zara is great. I mean, Zara is, and it's interesting, and we probably need to spend a whole episode on the evolution of Zara, but Zara is now going on runways, and they're really starting to reposition their brand as away from fast fashion into pure fashion. So exciting. I feel like we all need to do
let's do a fashion episode. Let's do a fashion
episode.
Yeah.
Love it. Yep. I think we could do a few episodes on that. I mean, I'm obsessed with fashion. So
same. Okay.
This week,
Christmas.
We've got a special guest. Yes, it's our Christmas special. And for all of our loyal listeners, all 5 of you, we have a very special guest, Eugene Healey, who is joining us. And we are
a brand strategist, not a marketer.
This is true. This is true. And I have been following him for a long time. I met him in person for the first time at Cannes this year. We were in the Carlton, and I was ordering a very expensive iced coffee. And we got to chat.
$24 coffee. $24 coffee.
Totally worth it. So yeah, amazing to have Eugene on. So let's welcome Eugene.
Welcome.
Where are you dialing in from, Eugene?
I'm dialing in from Melbourne, Australia, in my co-working space's podcast room. So that's why
brilliant.
I have all of this equipment.
And you didn't go to work wearing Christmas attire today, I can see.
Sadly, no. I had a meeting with my interior designer, which necessitated that I look presentable as a client.
How very Melbourne of you.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not all in black.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's the funny thing with like when you're a client for someone, you're like, I still want them to think I'm cool. You know, it's like that relationship you have with your therapist where you can't like your therapist too much because then you want them to like you.
Yeah,
this is true.
And you have to impress your designer.
So how's 2025 been for you, Eugene? What's been some of the highlights?
I went to more countries this year than I ever have in my life before. I spent probably around a quarter of it away from home, which is for better and for worse. I think it helps being someone who is relatively young and relatively unencumbered to do that. I met like so many interesting people around the world, and I was able to have like conversations with these people that are on the basis of ideas. I didn't have to do a lot of small talk this year, which I think was really exciting. That's kind of like if I have to say there is a number one benefit of being a knowledge influencer, which is like someone who effectively shares their point of view as opposed to their lifestyle, it's that when people come up to talk to you, they are interested.
They want to go deep.
They want to have a conversation about some kind of idea, usually, rather than just talking about the weather or whatever. So that was really exciting.
That's a great life hack. So if you're not interested in small talk, just become a knowledge influencer.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Become a knowledge influencer and become known for being a knowledge influencer that has really specific points of view that you want to discuss or disagree with.
I feel like I could do this. I really feel like this could really be an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's pretty. I would have to say it's a pretty big privilege to have been able to just like monetize your opinion on things. Now I get why talkback radio hosts are the way that they are.
And
so the place
sorry, you go, Ben.
So the place that we met Eugene was in the south of France at Cannes, which Steph was at as well. Tell us a bit about your experience there.
Cannes is everything that everyone says it is, but it was actually also all of these other good things too. So I'd only ever heard that it was a revolting piss up that was just like full of ad industry wankery and just like the worst people in your business that you know that are all together at the same time. And it was all of those things. It was also, I would say, there was probably the slightly more sinister element that it really felt like it was a tech festival that had a creativity theme running over the top of it. Like I was like, where's actually the creativity? Like who owns this festival is the platforms, Microsoft, Spotify, etc., and like everyone else is just renting they're the cultural capital that gives people permission to gives these tech platforms the right to be there in the south of France instead of in Las Vegas or whatever in a giant convention center like they probably should be.
Which they also would be doing, to be fair. So this is just another string to their bow. Yep.
That's why I say this is the creativity themed one that they do of the 15 that they do throughout the year.
How do we get the creatives? We'll tick that box, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I had a laugh with Microsoft where I was at Microsoft Beach chatting to some of their employees, and on the walls, one of the taglines was literally "Tame your creative demons," and I was like, I don't know if you guys understand sort of like the sinister implications of like your relationship with creativity, especially because they were talking about Copilot and artificial intelligence. But Cannes, it's also everyone that is the most important person in the industry is there. And it was shocking how many people I ran into. And I was also really shocked by how many people recognized me. And then afterwards, I was like, I suppose if there's anywhere in the world for me to get recognized, this would be the place. But it was really strange as people like bumping into you and just wanting to have a conversation with you. And you got dragged into so many side quests. That was definitely the best part of it.
So this was your first one?
Yeah, it was my first one. I suspect I'll be back next year as well. But the
that's a debate we're having as well, Eugene. And speaking of side quests, Ben pulled me into, I didn't even hit day one and I was on a side quest at Meta Beach. So I hear you.
Exactly. Because the things that you actually want to go to, what I will say is a lot of the keynotes, the problem is that there's too much money there for any of them to be interesting. It is such a corporate de-risked environment that you're not likely to see anything that rocks any boat. There's too many American companies there as well. Like
there's nothing new. There's no new ideas. There's the refined ideas.
Exactly. And that's not to say like I heard that Colin's house was really, really interesting.
I was just going to say, Eugene, I saw will.i.am and I feel like I definitely heard some new stuff from him. Like there was nothing scripted coming out of will.i.am, I can tell you right now.
Was will.i.am at Colin's house?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what I heard was that they'd managed to construct an environment in which you never knew who you were going to run into there.
Yes.
but there were no name tags. So you might be talking to a junior or a professor, or as you said, will.i.am as well. And so
that is exactly
there
right.
are still moments of serendipity to be had there. It's just also like, I think it's the intersection of the most intense networking event that you've ever been into in your life, and I'm talking American style networking, not like British style.
And
like,
I'm there for that.
6 different times, and then let's maybe decide whether we want to work together. It's more like 15 minutes. Show me what you got.
Yeah.
Then also there is like the drinking element to it as well. Then it is also a very, very corporate extravaganza. And then it's also happening in 33-degree heat in the south of France. I'm
my God.
you should be like chilling by a pool somewhere. And then also it's happening at the backdrop of this, shall we say, high friction style of French service. So everyone is uncomfortable there. It is the most bewildering event. I can't wait to be there next year.
It was also, I loved every minute of it. I can't.
And the side quests are everything. There was, I think, a list of 1,000 events that were not part of the main conference. And there's a lot of people that go to the event and don't actually buy a ticket. They just attend all of the events on the side.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I understand when I think about like what I got that was part of the tickets versus the things that I was dragged into. Yeah. Definitely a place that I would say it's useful to be putting your face all over things. Like that definitely helped, having my face and stuff.
Maybe you could be a keynote speaker as part of the corporate swag next year. I think it could be.
Tracksuit and I have had conversations about getting on stage together. So like, I think if I'm going to make my way all the way over there next year, someone's putting me on a stage somewhere.
Yeah. Get a free ticket.
So part of Cannes is obviously the awards, and the awards are all about who did the best campaign probably the year before. And we have put together a list of naughty and nice brands for 2025 as a part of the Christmas special. There are a couple of winners in the list. But yeah, I thought we could go through, talk about the brand, talk about what they did right or wrong. And yeah, it would be great to get your opinion on some of these.
Yeah.
And one of the things we like on this podcast, Eugene, is we don't hold back in our opinions, and they're our opinions. And so feel free to just, and they don't just we're not going to just talk about things that have happened at Cannes. We'll try and find a couple of other things that have been cultural moments as well on our naughty and nice list.
Great.
So
first off the bat, we have American Eagle. So American Eagle, American clothing brand. I think if you're in the marketing world and you haven't heard of the Sydney Sweeney ad that happened during the year, where were you? But yeah, tell us, do you think American Eagle should be on the naughty list?
Yes, I think so. I think it's very difficult to wade into this conversation with nuance while also not being like an enlightened centrist about it, like a lot of, I would say, older white male marketing commentators have, where they're like, well, it's not eugenics, but also it's not this, it's something in the middle. And I'm like, well, I mean, it kind of is. It's just the cultural story surrounding it. Obviously, like they picked a very interesting, I heard a really interesting thing about Sydney Sweeney the other day, where someone said she is omnipresent, but she's not popular.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
She's a stand-in for an idea, but she's not popular in that her last 4 movies have all flopped.
But she's hot, right? Like, and let's be honest, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have some actual brand data from this American Eagle ad. So American Eagle beat its earning estimates, and that was used by many in the marketing world to suggest, hey,
to
this
justify
ad was, yeah, exactly. It was much better than everyone suggested. But actually, if you dig into the data, I didn't do this. This was another creator slash lecturer called Sam Ogborn. She found that they beat their estimates by 11%, but 10% of that growth came from one of their group brands, Aerie.
So not the jeans,
not the American Eagle brand.
So only 1% of the sales growth came from American Eagle. And this was off the back of running massive brand campaigns. You know, they have been spending extraordinary amounts on marketing, and they've been bringing in, you know, the Travis Kelce, they're bringing in big names as well of it. So you can only imagine what the cost must have been. And that translated into 1% growth. But the tracksuit data, again, I'm pulling this from Sam Ogborn, who did some research on this. In tracksuits data, American Eagle's brand consideration is down 6%.
Wow.
And brand preference is down 3%.
And that's significant, right? And I think the question remains, I don't think we'll see something similar from them next year. Like, there's just no way. I don't think.
You see, even now, funnily enough, even Sydney Sweeney has finally started to backtrack. So even she said, well, actually, you know, but when I have something to say on this topic, you know, 3 months ago, when I have something to say on this topic, I'll have something to say on this topic. But after the movie's flopped, no, I didn't intend it to cause division. I think it's just like this interesting thing of, again, and let's call it the left or whatever, has been guilty of this in the past with quote unquote woke marketing, is that the people that celebrate campaigns online are not actually necessarily the people that buy the product. The people that celebrate Sydney Sweeney and what she stands for, like Republican coded blondes with big naturals, are back in vogue.
But I
does
think
not necessarily translate to the actual consumer of the brands. Yeah.
And I think we should really take a moment for that, because I think we're so often, and we see this in awards ceremonies as well, celebrating good creative is one thing, but you want good creative to actually, like, at the end of the day, if it's not adding to the bottom line, I mean, yes, you've got Talkability, and Ben and I talked about this at the time. We're like, do we think this is a good thing or a bad thing? But if I'm sitting presenting to the CFO, I want sales to have increased. Like, I want there to be a measurable difference from all of the, you know, the outrage and the
I think it's
attention.
interesting, because what this conversation shows is that the virtue gap was not merely an issue with, I'm going to say, like, socially liberal marketing, where there was, hey, you know, like, your tampons are about feminine empowerment, which was like, won us a bunch of awards, but didn't actually contribute to any meaningful sales increase, because that's not why people buy tampons.
And did they understand
that it shows that it can happen for conservative virtue signaling just as much.
And did they know their audience? Sydney Sweeney is very popular with males, you know, adolescent males, and is American Eagle selling to them? Probably not. I mean, they're selling a lot of women's jeans.
Yeah, well, exactly. Sydney Sweeney's popular with a particular type of male, almost, and the way that she's positioned her brand is as if to prove, like, she's trying to prove a point, I think. And that's what we're finding exactly, is that the customer segment is actually much lower than the cultural segment. When I say that, I mean the type of people that consume content and discourse around this individual are very different from the type of people that purchase the things that this person advertises for. And this is not merely a Sydney Sweeney issue, by the way. This is like anything where you're playing in kind of like the modern cultural sphere, because a lot of the stuff in marketing now is trying to figure out, when you have to earn attention, how are you going to do it? Like, what's the cultural idea that you want to have the conversation around, but how does it scaffold into a brand association that's desirable? That second part seems to be missed in the conversation.
Not only that, does it make sense for your brand? Because one of the things we've also talked about is, just because you can, does that mean that you should? Like, just because there's a cultural moment, what right does your brand have to play in that cultural moment? And really being really aware of that and knowing which lane to play it, and I think is important.
And this isn't the first collab she's done. She had, I think, arguably more success with
Dr.
men's
Squatch
deodorant.
Bathwater.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, that's a good product market fit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you've got that earned media as well.
Okay, what's the next one, Ben?
So the next one on the list is herpes. So Herpes New Zealand, they were at Cannes. They won a lion. They won, I think, a few lions for this campaign. Amazing work coming out of New Zealand. A multi-year campaign using humour, really good use of talent, and having a conversation about sexual health like a normal conversation, not just a lip service announcement.
I don't know, Eugene, how familiar are you with herpes?
I'm familiar. Look, I'm familiar with the New Zealand as the what was the campaign tagline? It's
the greatest place in the world to have
have herpes. Yeah. Look, I mean, I like that part of the campaign. I mean, I think it's just a good example of why New Zealand punches above its weight in advertising. I often say, and I'm from New Zealand originally, that New Zealand does great advertising because nobody can afford to kill things in market research.
It's a good point.
We can't afford in this campaign to run like a a national market research campaign. We actually just have to put it out and see what people think. And then combined with the fact that generally all the decision makers are in the room because there's only 3 of them in the entire company. And, this is a public health campaign, I think, which is interesting as well. Like, and if anyone's ever done any work with the public service, like the quality of work is inversely proportional to the number of people that are in the room, because the work always ends up being the lowest common denominator. The person whose entire job, it seems to be, to comment annoying things on Google Docs. And so you can just say, you got to give credit to the client here. You're like, they probably made sure the person who writes annoying comments on Google Docs wasn't in the room.
Yeah. And look, they also, and I think one of the things that was awesome about this campaign is it was so multifaceted and multi-channel. They had to work with the healthcare providers. They really could see that there's an opportunity to make a difference. And I think the reason it worked, as far as I can see, is way more than just an advertising campaign. Like, it actually genuinely did move the needle. And I think it might have been in that category, been in Cannes as well. Like, it was a for-purpose campaign for social good. It wasn't just a great creative idea. It actually did move the needle. And they had strong metrics around that, which I'm always a fan of. And it's bold and interesting. And so, yeah, 100% for me, that would be on the nice list.
Definitely on the nice list. And it was developed, obviously, along with the agency Motion Sickness, which has been doing some amazing work in this space as well.
I think it'll be a good year for motion sickness in 2026 is my pick.
I think so, yeah. I think their team might have even reached out to me about something like that.
Yeah, well, there you go, see?
So moving back across the ditch to Australia, let's talk about Optus, who are on the naughty list. And not necessarily for a campaign, but I think the brand is in a bit of hot water at the moment.
Well, okay, so what would you define the brand crisis as, or which brand crisis are you wanting to pick out?
I mean, I think the one that was most recently was the emergency calls and their handling of that. And this is the thing about brand. A brand is more than just the campaigns that you're running. It's the communications that you are or aren't doing. In a heavily regulated sector, which is highly competitive, like banking.
Well, the poor brand and marketing team. I think they were in the middle of a rebrand campaign that with Droga 5 that they had to pull because of the 000 scandal.
Yeah,
and I think it's a reminder that, like, this is one of the many reasons why this industry fucking sucks to be in sometimes, because somebody else cocks something up and then it's your responsibility to clean up the mess. And then just as they're in the process of cleaning up the mess, somebody else makes a mess. And so now you have to start from the drawing board again. Like, I just think that, look, the brand is not the problem. The brand is, you're right. The competitive environment is such that, like, it's incredibly boring what most of these brands do. That being said, obviously what Telstra and Brent and Bear are doing right now is like every single CMO that I meet of like a ASX listed company is like, oh my God, what they're doing at Telstra, like that's not being replicated elsewhere. I have a suspicion it's just because Brent must have incredible political nous. But like it's Optus. Like, I don't think that I think the business is the problem. I think the problem is that Australia is full of oligopolies where everybody in all of these businesses is making just enough money to not want to rock the boat ever and has not enough incentive to. Everyone, it's a Mexican standoff. And everyone's just looking at everyone to fuck up. And everyone's saying, well, all I need to do is not fuck up. Why would I do anything interesting? I just need to not fuck up. And I think like that is the driving factor of most major Australian industries, like whether it's banking, insurance, telecoms, supermarkets. What else? There's one other one that I'm thinking of. But all of these industries, you go in and you meet the marketers, and they're all browbeaten. They all say,
but there's occasionally rising stars.
Yeah, but they always say, we're so constrained by the regulations, we can't do anything genuinely interesting. And then you go look, and then you're like, well, okay, what about Up? Like, I always use Up as an example. I'm like, that's banking. Banking's one of the most regulated industries in Australia, and they've managed to do plenty of interesting things. I think you just want to get fired.
It's funny you say that, because we have done 2 episodes in the banking and finance industry, and I didn't want to do them because I was like, oh, this is going to be so boring. And actually, they did some really cool stuff, right, Ben?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's where a great marketer comes in, understands the constraints that they're working in, and takes a risk. and, makes that brave move that pushes them out, and usually it pays off.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, you have to have the confidence, the nous, the intuition, and just like the ability to one, to be disliked and to say, okay, well, if you don't like that thing, that's fine. I'm going to take that on notice, but
yeah,
and it's your opinion, bro. But I think just the ability as a marketer to have a really clearly defined perspective, I think, is so important.
What we've seen at Westpac is they've deliberately hired outside of so there's the new chief marketing officer at Westpac in New Zealand is outside of the industry, and they've done that on purpose because they weren't getting traction with people who knew the industry. And it's nice to see that there's a swing again, because we've played it safe for such a long time. In recent times, because money's been hard to come by, the economy's been a bit dire, people have gone, nope, we just want to stick to what we know, stick to our knitting. But I think maybe next year maybe there are some green shoots out there that people will start doing things a bit differently, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, or like, hey, it can't get worse. Let's try something else. We can't keep losing people to Australia.
Or before AI does all the work for us too. That's the thing.
So let's jump back over to the nice list. IKEA has been in Australia forever, but it just came to New Zealand. I don't know if you know, and the Kiwis have lost their shit over meatballs and flat pack furniture.
And meatods.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's been in Australia, if these, I haven't fact checked this, but 1975.
Heck.
I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, and has just opened here in New Zealand. But they've run a campaign here. Obviously, they are in one location, which is in Auckland, but they've run a campaign because they do ship nationwide to say IKEA is available for everyone, not just those that can come and visit them in store. But yeah, what are our thoughts on IKEA?
Love. I'll jump in here. So I actually I was again parked at the lights, and I took a photo. You know how we like a special outdoor out-of-home build in this country, Ben? The IKEA have got an out-of-home segment that's got the handle of the blue bag hanging off it, which I really loved. And I think they've done a really great job on multiple fronts. So they had pop-up stores outside of Auckland to show people, so you could touch and see the range. They've advertised in all the regions, and let's be honest, sometimes you just don't get to the regions, so you just go, oh, we'll just advertise in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, and that will be it. And so they've done a deliberate job of trying to make it feel like IKEA is here in New Zealand, not just in Auckland. And full respect, I don't know if you would have seen it, Eugene, you may not have, but there was so much chat about traffic management control, and they had to open on a third. Like, it was outrageous.
I feel like that was a PR thing. Like, was there really delays?
It wasn't. That was the thing. Yeah. I've joined 2 IKEA fan groups already. It's great. People are posting all their stuff. So yeah, I think great marketing. I think it was really, for me, you know how when you're going to market with something and it's a new product launch or whatever, and you've done all the thinking, but actually it's that last 5% on the execution. I think they've executed flawlessly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I obviously I liked it because it reminded me of home, I think. Like, it made me a little bit nostalgic for a place that I haven't lived in nearly 15 years now. I think it's just really interesting. IKEA as a brand has so much to play with. And I think it's like a real privilege to work with brands like IKEA, because they've got interesting country of origin stories. Sweden is known but not well known, so there's lots of interesting, fun, playful things you can do with that. They've got really, really strong brand assets that you can play with as well, as you said, the blue Fracta bag. And then they did some really interesting stuff with how they, it's a brand that's not just about furniture, it's a brand that's about life. So you get to have all of these interesting conversations about what does life look like, and then it's for you to come up with great creative off the back of that. I think I read that they did some really interesting qual research at the beginning as well, where they went into 500 New Zealand homes and they saw what life at home in New Zealand looks like, and then they used that as the basis for the creative moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised. I imagine it would have been someone like Crowd DNA or someone that probably would have done a project like that, like deep
I love
qual.
that. Yeah.
And that's what then allows them to get into these quite niche conversations. And I think that's the whole brand, like what they're trying to show is, despite the fact that we're only just here, like, we fit seamlessly into Kiwi life.
And it's not just cheap furniture, right? Because that's the other, you could go, like if I think about foreign entries into
cheap furniture.
It is just cheap. But it's well designed as well.
But it is, but it isn't. And that's the whole point. And like, you know, I'm about to take my children to Costco on Friday. I'd much rather go to IKEA. Costco's just cheap stuff. There's no brand. There's no distinctive brand assets in a Costco. And IKEA is an entire experience. And I think that's where the equity comes. And I think that's what they've done really well. They haven't just been, if you were just playing in that $120 piece of furniture space, then that's a race to the bottom, but they've built an entire ecosystem around it. And
yeah, I'm excited to see how Kiwi Airbnbs adapt to this monumental shift.
The furniture will be falling apart.
Because that's the thing, right? Like living in Australia, IKEA is omnipresent in rentals.
Yeah,
like that was the first. When I bought my home, the first thing I said is, I'm going to remove every single piece of IKEA furniture out of this house. And then I bought some vintage IKEA stuff.
I was going to say, some of it's lasted for a long time.
Vintage stuff, the stuff from the 70s is actually really good.
Yeah.
And if it's glued properly together, it does last.
Ben, I bet you don't have any IKEA furniture in your apartment with that boucle couch.
No, there's no IKEA here.
Yeah. We've recently been on a journey with Ben to get a new couch, Eugene. So,
yeah, and it is a journey.
It is a journey, especially, well, in New Zealand, up until IKEA came in, most of the stores have a 3-month lead time. So if you're buying it from any of the established retailers, good luck.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, what's next?
3 months as well, yeah.
So we're jumping back to the naughty list, and in the same vein as telcos, we have the supermarkets. So Woolworths and Coles. I think this is especially in Australia, the national beating bag at the moment. I think Australians have forgotten about the banks, and now they're on the supermarkets, especially in the cost of living crisis that everyone talks about. And again, it's tough. How do you market when everyone's down your back about profits?
This gets into I'm just thinking about how off the rails I go with this. Like, I have my own personal feelings about this.
Go on.
With Australians complaining about price gouging, and I'm like, this is the economic system that you voted for. You know, you voted for capitalism, which, if you've read properly economics,
how it works
is that it has a tendency towards monopoly. Look at what's happening in the United States right now. It has a tendency towards consolidation. And that's the system that you decided that you wanted. And so now you're complaining. This is always the thing. It's like, we care about this, but we want things to be fair, you know, but things should feel fair. Well, you know, like I can handle X, Y, and Z. I can handle like the environment being completely strip mined. I can apparently handle the fact that we give away all of our national resources to these companies for free. We could have a sovereign wealth fund that was bigger than Qatar or Norway's, but instead we decided that we were going to give all of these assets away for free. But the price gouging, it's not even as bad as the price gouging in New Zealand. New Zealand is unconscionable.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we're all coming to Australia.
Yeah. Like, you know, it was really interesting to see the conversations that were being floated in the review in New Zealand, where they were talking about actually breaking up the supermarkets and doing actual market interventions. And I think, these companies, it's not that they're in enviable positions in that they occupy enviable market positions. The marketing teams themselves are not, though, because they are caught in the cultural conversation. And so they have to apparently try to engender some kind of brand love or sympathy. But I think, you know, these brands effectively function as inevitabilities rather than any kind of like, what's the brand meaning? I think Woolworths, the best that they can do is that they can promote themselves as being the fresher option. And that's fine.
It's not about price. It's about freshness.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they need to, and Woolworths, I would say, this is why I'm like, whether they're on the naughty or nice list, as a marketer, I think like they're doing okay. They've built an extraordinarily strong secondary brand asset around the orange in Woolworths Rewards. So within the fresh brand positioning, they've managed to build a value positioning and assets around that positioning as well. I just say, look, obviously the content that they make is incredibly boring. I also think that they're not adapting well to new forms of media.
It's funny you say that. The other week we were talking about out of home, and we're talking about whether it's appropriate to advertise onions on an out of home billboard or not. I tell you what, I saw a Lego.
Aldi would, you know,
maybe they're taking something out of that playbook. I think I saw a lamb shoulder the other day, and I forgot to send a photo to you.
But I think this is a revolution on now how out of home is much more accessible. I mean, it used to be you had to print this big thing and pay for space, and it had to be done months in advance, and it was up for 3 months. But now with digital, if onions are on special, you can pop that up, have it on for 3 days and then change it out for another product. Yeah. So I think this is some of the advances that we're getting with digital.
Yeah, exactly. And to say nothing of, especially Woolworths and Cartology, the extraordinary revenues that they're getting from their retail media networks too.
So and they've got you over a barrel. Like, they've absolutely got you over a barrel on that.
Exactly. So it's hard to do a naughty or nice because you're like, well, the odds are stacked eternally in their favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So jumping down the aisle, Cadbury Made to Share is definitely on the nice list. Did you see this campaign?
Yeah, I did. I liked it. It was nice. It was cute.
I think I've seen it. Can exactly what happens? I mean, it's an ongoing campaign. What happens in this year's one?
So this was the Made to Share campaign where they were changing the packaging and showing essentially the different roles that people have doing a certain job. So if you're going on a holiday, it's who booked the trip, who booked the accommodation, who reserved the Airbnb. Yeah, just it was a fun way to show how you appreciate people that help you in life.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just think it was like a fun, cute campaign that could be executed from comms very easily. That was very fun. That was also had effect on the product and the packaging as well. That was able to talk about this product is made to be shared in like an interesting and creative way. And I think it did a really good job around just like building salience around consumption moments. They were performing a dual role at the same time when they were like, when do you eat this product? Like, you eat this product when you're on holiday. You eat this product after dinner. Who cooked, who cleaned, who ate? They did the like, who booked the meeting, who secured the room, who spoke for 30 minutes longer than they were supposed to. So they were like painting all these places where the product shows up and the brand shows up, and I think from a strategic perspective it's just a really good campaign as well.
It's actually really, really smart, because one of the challenges you've got in grocery is how do you increase consumption occasions, and that's an incredibly smart way of doing it, which still led us really nicely up to their brand purpose and their brand positioning.
And the best campaigns do have that product integration, and I think when you've got multiple channels including the product itself, the reinforcement everything multiplies.
Yeah, exactly. And of course they had it easy because they got the purple.
They do indeed.
Like, it's good. I think like it's one of the things that Ritson says is like, the stronger your brand codes are, the more right you have to play with them in interesting ways.
So another big brand in the aisle is Coca-Cola, and they've done another AI holiday campaign, which is quite on the nose because they got a lot of flack for their last one. But instead of changing, they really doubled down and created another AI campaign. Have you both seen the campaign?
Yep, I've seen it.
I have.
It is, I mean, these Coke campaigns, whether they're AI or not, they will feature a Santa. They will feature a truck with Coca-Cola. There will be polar bears. Like, I feel like the creative bar, AI or not, is pretty low. Or very traditional.
Well, how do you make it?
There's so many ways to make it different. So many ways. Yeah, you use storytelling. That's just very, very expected. And for those expected campaigns, why not use AI? You've kind of checked out of the creativity, so production, why not?
Exactly. I mean, I find it hard. I find it really hard to form a strong opinion on this. It's exactly. It's just an asset play. That, look, there was some absolute garbage stuff in there. Did you see the thing about how the truck is different lengths at different points? Like,
oh my God,
because the AI doesn't know how to render the truck effectively. So sometimes it's that big, sometimes it's that long, sometimes it's that long, sometimes it's got 18 wheels, sometimes it's got 12 wheels, sometimes it's got 14 wheels. So there are those things. I mean, it's just a basic disrespect for like the creative process. Like, I think it really is, what it is cynical. It assumes very little of the consumer, and that, I think, like, in that respect, it deserves a little bit of disdain. But that's it. Like, I find it really hard to muster anything more for it than that.
But don't you think that's the point, right? Like, if you don't, it's kind of like, okay, cool, great, they've done an ad, and I know what's coming next in our list, and you get people talking about it. I'm just like, well, so what? Like, yeah.
You know, it's kind of, in some ways, this ad reminds me of a Netflix series, and in particular, Netflix dialogue, where the whole series is just, the script is just people saying what's going on in the plot, you know? And that's the entire series. And then it has that hideous Netflix lighting to go along with it, you know, and just the wooden act, just like everything about it is atrocious. And it's like the TV doesn't actually exist. It's just there to serve as like a vehicle for you passing your time, or even worse, passing your time while you actually scroll on your phone. Like, it feels like an ad version of that.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there.
It's elevator music for television.
It's an asset play, right? Coke is for Christmas. You know, they may as well just make an ad that says Coke is for Christmas and then just play a slideshow.
And that's exactly what the ad says. And to be honest, you get that message.
What I find is extraordinary is you have the money, though. Like, it's not that it would have cost you that much money to create it without artificial intelligence. It's certainly not as a portion of your overall spend. Like, are you really that desperate to save a couple $100,000 at most?
Well, do you think they were trying to make a point because they did it last year? They got the flag. Do you think they're now going, well, we're a company of the future, and God be damned, we're going to be using AI, and watch us go. We're so progressive. I don't know.
I don't think it's progressive.
No, exactly. Hamlin's razor. What was it? Yeah. Never ascribe to malice what can equally be described by stupidity.
Very true.
But if there is hope for us, so moving back over to the nice list, we've got John Lewis, which this is how to do a holiday campaign. And when Steph and I saw it, yeah, it was a bit of a tearjerker. But yeah, you can tell amazing stories that resonate. Obviously, John Lewis being a British brand, but people all over the world watch that production. How did you feel about the campaign this year, Steph?
I mean, I cry every year. I mean, it took a couple. Yeah, I mean, you know. That's what I do at Christmas ads. I went to the airport yesterday, cried. You know, classic at Christmas. I took a little while to get the storyline on this one for me, because I think it was a two-part. I had to watch it twice to really absorb the storyline. Sometimes it's a bit easier to get it in the John Lewis ad, but again, I think a good ad for me is storytelling and emotion. And this, I mean, you know, you look at that and Coca's Christmas. I can't draw a comparison.
Yeah, I think watching the ad, there were a couple of things that stood out to me. I think probably, first off, I got quite I don't know if either of you have seen After Sun. There were a lot of things that I was like, this kind of feels like maybe they took that out of that on the mood board and just plonked it directly into the ad. I think that it's nice to watch an ad that's clearly targeted towards middle-aged to older men, that's able to build something new in terms of like what this person is, like not an incompetent old oaf, like not like raging man of work, etc. Not the fucking Gillette best a man can get womanizer, but just like a regular person that has had like an entire life before and it's like now seeking forms of connection with the generations that came after them. It was just like it's incredibly sentimental, like which you kind of have to go like, they're doing a sentimental Christmas ad. I think like that it was for the ad there's an ad that routinely makes me cry, which it turned out was an ad for like Patronus, like Malaysia's sovereign.
What's Patronus?
It's an oil company.
Oh gosh,
Malaysian oil company, and that ad always makes me cry as well, which is a Chinese New Year ad. I'm like, okay, yeah. But sometimes, you know, a sentimental ad, it still has to land, and I think they landed really well.
Yeah, I agree. What else is that? What have we got next, Ben?
That is it on the naughty and nice list. Okay. So it's been quite a 2025. I mean, some of the other notable brands that came up during the year were obviously Astronomer and Coldplay. They kind of just happened upon that. I think that was really interesting, especially the way that they turned it around and the recovery on that whole saga was amazing. It was amazing to watch the kiss cam. It was amazing to watch the fallout, and it was amazing to watch the turnaround that they did.
I think that was so smart. Like, just to imagine sitting at the boardroom and going into 2025 and like, right, guys, we'd like something to go viral. We'd really like. I mean, you can't plan for that, but I think they did such a great turnaround and they acted quickly, and I think that was to their credit.
It's discourse marketing again. I think like cynical, but I think it's when I say it's discourse marketing, I mean like there's this discourse that's happening, and you, instead of turning away from it, you lean into it. And I think that was them going, this fucking extraordinary discourse happening around our CEO right now. How do we ironically recontextualize it? You can't go into it straight, because it's like, again, it's going in like basically into Arrested Development. You end up, you're Jason Bateman. You make the situation even funnier. So the only way to really diffuse it is to be even more outrageous than everyone else in the room. And that's why they picked Gwyneth Paltrow, like a woman who is
so good,
who is straight-faced, but is entirely ridiculous as a human being. So yeah, just like the choice of talent and the choice of conversations as well. And like I think it was just it was a really interesting way of ironically like diverting and recontextualizing the entire saga, you know, as if it didn't make sense, as if it was something that you were just seeing on a reality TV show.
I mean,
it was brilliant.
I just think, take a moment for the person who, somebody who came up with the idea and then the person that approved that, because it's easy to sit here in retrospect and go, gosh, that was really great. I just think that would have, it seems obvious, but I think it would have been a really hard decision to make at the time, or to see that pathway forward, because when you're in it, I think you're saying things completely differently.
Well, you also just lost your CEO.
True.
And head of HR.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just goes to show that pretty much every brand is moments away from being on the naughty list. And if you do find yourself on the naughty list, there is always a way to get yourself back onto the nice list. Yeah. So, Eugene, if you were giving advice to brands that want to be on next year's nice list, what should they be doing?
I just think it's not that things are changing that much. I think the power still comes from being able to build brands that have bigger cultural ideas and cultural platforms than what it is they sell, that the product is a natural sell up into. The only real difference now is that the media and the cultural environment is significantly more fragmented. So you can't think about things through the lens of the big creative campaign in the same way anymore that's going to be delivered through linear television and legacy mediums. Like, you really do need to start building things up from the bottom and the individualized context. And all of these campaigns, like a lot of what they had in common, the good ones at least, was that they built interestingly from the niches and from lots of different consumption moments rather than through aggregate ones. So like, as I said, IKEA, they went in and they did like 12 different moments of Kiwi life, but they did that through a report that looked at 500 homes in New Zealand first. Yep. Cadbury as well, like they thought about a bunch of different consumption moments and executions that scaffolded up into the creative idea. But the creative idea is a decentralized creative idea, because you could make it's endlessly memeable, effectively. Like people could be invited to effectively make their own ones off the back of it. Like Gap is the same. We didn't talk about Gap, but like they built through culture there, and they made something that is endlessly memeable in that it was a dance. Like it was a dance that a lot of people ended up copying and doing as well. And that's like they leaned into a sort of like K-pop fandom story there, which is about giving something over to the audience that then is recontextualized to their language. That's the thing that I think is really changing, is effectively having to build through the bottom rather than down through the top.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
There's been a lot of comparisons between what American Eagle did and what Gap did, and I think both of those campaigns came out around the same time as well. So it was interesting to see those two play out.
Yeah, the denim wars.
Denim wars. So what's on the cards for you, Eugene? What have you got coming up in 2026?
Next is going to be rather busy. I'm building a marketing course. Sorry, I need to specify. I'm building a course on brand.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a course about marketing. I need to make sure that I remind everyone that I'm staying in my own lane and not moving into other people's. So,
own that niche.
So yeah, what will that look like, and how do we get on it?
Effectively, it is everything. It is designed to summarize everything that I've either learned or taught or talked about on stage over the past 5 to 7 years of my career. I think everything that I've learned about how modern brands need to be built, everything that encompasses my ideology about brand as well, which I treat as an applied discipline that brings in lots of things from the world. So I am bringing in a lot of my own cultural theory, critical theory, philosophy as well, and defining why those things are important, not just things that I'm interested in. It will obviously bring in a lot of my expertise around like how to perform cultural analysis and trend analysis and scaffold that into brand imperatives as well. And also crucially, what I want to do is I want to take some of the things that academia and traditional university is supposed to has increasingly lost, which is not just about teaching people here's how to do a marketing strategy, but it's actually about teaching people how to learn and teaching people how to understand themselves and how to understand knowledge and how to contextualize knowledge and how to develop their taste and their perspective, etc. All of those things I think are really, really increasingly important for people who work in brand and marketing and creative services as well. And so I want to be able to give people a toolkit that really engages them in themselves and their learning process and really, really makes them excited about education, because that's the thing that I really love the most.
That's brilliant. Well, thanks for being a guest with us, Eugene. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you in Melbourne or Sydney or maybe the south of France.
Yeah, I hope so. All right.
Thank you.
See you, Eugene. Thank you.
Ciao.
Oh my God, how good was Eugene? He's got such an amazing perspective. For those that don't follow him already, make sure you look him up. Eugene Healey, Brand Strategy. He is on LinkedIn. He's on Instagram. He's on TikTok. He does amazing videos. Definitely check him out. And I will be signing up to his course when he releases it. So we will keep you updated on that.
Amazing. And look, what an awesome way to wrap up the year. This podcast didn't exist before August 2025. This is our 23rd episode. And I think, great. What a great way to finish the year. So thanks.
It is. And what's happening over the break for you, Steph?
So I love those. This is the time of year where we have those Christmas conversations. I'm heading off to the Coromandel on Christmas Day. So I'm taking the kids. We're taking the boat, planning on doing lots of relaxing and lots of reading and just chilling out, and literally Out of Office will be on. What about you, Ben?
So I will also be having Christmas with the family, but very soon after that, I'm heading to Rio for New Year's, and I've never been to South America before. So this is going to be very exciting. So about a week and a half in Rio, and then I will spend some time in Santiago on the way back. So it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and there's going to be lots of party and dancing. So I'm looking forward to that.
I can only imagine. Have you downloaded Duolingo, and are you planning to learn Spanish?
I dabble in Spanish. I'm still on my French. I just hit level 13 on Duolingo for French. So yeah, maybe I will go to Cannes again this year.
Go on. We've got to make it work.
Well,
yes.
It's been such a good year, Steph. Thank you for coming on this journey with me, and it's going to be an amazing 2026. And I wanted to say a big thanks to all of our listeners and appreciate all of your support through the year. And it's going to be an amazing 2026.
And the feedback, people come up to us all the time and give us feedback and to say how much they like the format and things. And we're always open for feedback. So a genuine heartfelt thanks to everyone who's followed us on this 23 episode journey. And on that note, we are going to take, as much as we had committed to doing every week, but we've decided to take 2 weeks off, and we will be back with our next episode, our 24th episode, on Friday the 16th of Jan.
Brilliant. Well, have a great break, Steph.
You too, Ben. Happy New Year.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.